What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, I'm bringing back out Greninja, a Pokemon I hold near and dear to my heart. It is so much fun to play with in the Open Great League, and Specialty Cups is when it can really rise to the top, especially when Charmers aren't too common and fighters aren't too common. Now, obviously, there is still the potential Vigoroth, there's the potential Poliwrath, there's the potential Obstagoon, Pokemon like that, but Tropius and Vigoroth can kind of handle those together, and Greninja does a great job at sweeping teams. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Definitely give me some recommendations of Pokemon maybe you want to see, because I got a lot of Summer Cup battles to be doing this week, and I want to try some new stuff, but today it's Greninja, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, moving into the first battle, we have Tropius versus Talonflame on the lead. Obviously a bad lead. I'm potentially reading right here that there might be a Lantern in the back, and we actually see an Azumarill swap in. So this is still a situation where there might be a Lantern, right? Talonflame, Lantern, Azumarill, safe swap with Ice Beam. That would make sense in terms of a team formation. It also could be something like Dugong. You know, there's a lot of different things that could be back there. Now, with this matchup against Azumarill, I want to take this pretty deep into the matchup, because if I can get Switch, we have an opportunity there, as most Talonflames don't run Brave Bird anymore. We have an opportunity to hit it with a Hydro Cannon, especially if shields are down. So we're going to go ahead and go for another Body Slam against the Azumarill, and now they're getting pretty low, and this is the opportunity where I could shield and then load up on energy, which is what I'm gonna look to do as they go for an Ice Beam, but my opponent makes a great play and swaps into the Talonflame. So I'm gonna go for Rock Slide here. Obviously we gotta throw it to force that final shield, and now it's gonna be a race to get to the charge move, but they actually decide to throw right here. I think this saved me pretty hard, as they decide to throw. It is going to be the Fly, and now obviously we can come in with Greninja. They will get to another Fly, which is going to hurt, but we should be able to survive. So that play by my opponent swapping in definitely hurt me, but we will be able to go for the Hydro Cannon here. I made sure they were in the middle of that Incinerate animation before I threw. That way I know this one-shots. Boom! And then the final Pokemon is going to be, I'm just fast swapping right away, it's going to be Diggersby. So this is a great opportunity for us to win. Now Diggersby does have access to Fire Punch, which does super effective damage, but it honestly doesn't do that much. Tropius is very tanky. Now, if you don't have a Tropius, a Jumpluff could be a good alternative there. Fairy Wind, you could go with Acrobatics and Energy Ball. I believe it also has Aerial Ace if you don't want to go with Acrobatics, but Acrobatics hits like a truck, and I love hard-hitting charge moves. But Tropius here is going to do a great job at closing this game out. I'm anticipating my opponent looking to go for a catch on a charge move, which is what they do here. So I'm just going to overload on energy. A Fire Punch wouldn't knock me out from this health range anyway, so I didn't necessarily need to throw the Leaf Blade right away. So we will knock out the Azumarill, and now we will knock out the Diggersby here. And that is going to be a good game, very well played, as I believe they decided to leave. My Tropius is stuck in the air, but that is going to be a good game. Yeah, so if you don't have Tropius, try Jumpluff there. A flyer that can handle Lantern. That's what we're looking for. Good game. All right, next one, we have Ariados here on the lead. This is kind of a dicey Pokemon to be facing off against, because it has access to Cross Poison and Lunge, both of which it core breaks, right? The Greninja Dark typing and the Grass typing there. So we're going to go ahead and swap into Greninja as they swap into Talonflame, and we are in a very good position right here to overload on energy, maintain switch advantage, and boom, whatever is in the back. So we're going to go ahead and go for Hydro Cannon here. I'm guessing they kind of just want to sack the Talonflame, so that's why I'm going for the Hydro Cannon, and boom, sure enough they did. Now they come in with Obstagoon. So this is still a tough situation, but Greninja thankfully has lots of energy. That's why I built up a ton against the Talonflame. And then now we should be able to get to a second Hydro Cannon in time, or they throw the energy, which is good for our Vigoroth matchup, as we will both be doing super effective damage to each other, but now we're more on an even energy playing field. They're going to be one turn ahead of me, though, in terms of the damage, which is fine. Vigoroth can absorb this charge move, but I decide to shield anyways because I know they're going to swap into Ariados. And because we have access to Rock Slide here, this does super effective damage against the bug typing. So we're going to get that shield. We're going to swap into Tropius now. We're going to go for Aerial Ace, which is super effective, and then we should be able to farm down and go for a Leaf Blade here against the Obstagoon, which is in the back. Now, how we lose is if Obstagoon is able to farm us down. This is where it gets a bit dicey. So Obstagoon does come in, but they decide to charge attack priority. Had they not thrown here, right, I get the Leaf Blade, we win the game, or they now throw, and the Vigoroth can counter down, and that is going to be a good game, very well played to my opponent. All right, moving into the next one, we have Tropius versus Dunsparce. Okay, so with a Dunsparce lead, Tropius is going to be losing this one in the 0 shields. That's because of the Rock Slide and rollout damage that is being applied to us, right? But what I'm reading here from my opponent is they have a normal type on the field. Normal type's biggest weakness is fighting, right? So you need to have a cover for Vigoroth. You need to have a cover for Poliwrath. So I'm expecting or anticipating a flyer in the back. Something that beats. It could be flyer, it could be bug, it could be ghost. Something that beats fighters and Vigoroth. So what I'm going to do is sacrifice the Tropius, because if it is in fact a Talonflame back there, keeping Tropius alive isn't going to get me very much. And I don't think it's going to be a Lantern. I could be wrong, but even then, if it is Lantern, right, we still have Night Slash, and we still have counter Body Slam. So I'm going to come in with Vigoroth here and counter it down. And now we get to see what it's going to be, and it's going to be a Vigoroth Mirror. And I'm just thinking to myself, oh boy, here we go. I'm still thinking it's Talonflame in the back. That's just what my gut tells me, because now we have 2 Pokemon weak to counter. We have a Dunsparce normal type. We have a Vigoroth normal type. So I am going to try and guess that it is something that Greninja can beat, right? That's what I'm guessing here. So Body Slam will be thrown. They decide to shield. They're low enough now where Greninja, 2 Water Shurikens should be able to take them out. That's a good amount of energy, so I will let this Body Slam go through. I come in, and it's a Charge Bug. It does counter what I thought, right? That bug typing for fighters, but it's a hard counter to Greninja, especially with the X-Scissor, and that is going to be a good game. So my only win condition here is getting a shield with Night Slash and getting the boost. My opponent knows it, and they no shield, and that is going to be a good game. I didn't get the boost as well. I'm thinking maybe I could get to 2 Night Slash or 3 Night Slashes, but they actually have the energy for X-Scissor right here. So unfortunately, I risked it for the biscuit there, right? I was doing a read. I was thinking maybe it's Talonflame lurking in the back, but ultimately it was not, and we go down. So boom, that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one, Tropius versus Whiscash here. This is a good lead for us, but something weird happens. Whiscash is doing air slashes. Did you guys see that? Whiscash is doing air slashes. I don't know what that is. It's obviously some kind of glitch, some kind of bug in the game, but Whiscash is literally does 1 mud shot and then starts doing air slashes back at me. You can see that from the animation that's happening. So this is hilarious. This is actually a Whiscash on the field because I'm going to get hit with Scald here. But it's doing air slash, and then they swap out into Toxapex, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and go for a Leaf Blade here to soften it up, and then I'm coming in with the Vigoroth. We have the 2-to-1 shield advantage, and Vigoroth here with Body Slam is going to do great. Now my opponent decides to surrender. I'm just going to overload on energy here, and they decide to surrender, so it's going to be a good battle. But I wanted to show that one because of the air slash Vigoroth, or air slash Whiscash, right? That was hilarious. All right, moving to the next one. We had Quagsire there on the lead and a Charjabug safe swap. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Charjabug only does neutral damage here to Tropius with X-Scissor and Discharge, or the crunch that it could potentially have. And I can't necessarily come in with a hard Vigoroth swap in because that's a neutral matchup as well. So we're going to play this by getting a shield or getting the damage down. I was going to swap either way. And now we come in with Vigoroth here. And Vigoroth has access to that Rock Slide for super effective damage. So we're going to no shield. It is going to be the X Scissor, and we can easily tank that. Now I'm going to go for Rock Slide here. This will one-shot the Charjabug if they decide not to shield. But if they do shield, oh man, I have an opportunity in front of me. If we think about the lead, it was a Quagsire on the lead. Greninja can handle that. So now I'm thinking it might be Talonflame in the back, and I want Greninja to really shine. Tropius can come back into Charjabug. This is no worry. I'm gonna have to shield, unfortunately, because of the timing there of the charge move. But I can safely shield. It is totally fine. We still have 1-0s. Greninja can sweep a lot of teams in that situation. And if it's a Lantern back there, right, Greninja's gonna, Tropius is gonna win this game by himself. But let's see what it's gonna be. It's going to be a Pidgeot. So we instantly swap into Greninja. It was not a Talonflame, but it is the same but different. And I am going to respect the Brave Bird. How I lose is if I think it's a Feather Dance bait, and it was a Brave Bird. This gives me a huge opportunity to overload on energy and now go for Night Slash. Brave Bird debuffed my opponent's defenses, which means Night Slash, boom, hits that much harder. And Quagsire, we get a boost as well. Quagsire coming out onto the field. This is why I said I was totally fine letting Greninja go in the back. Oh, so much damage. Because we saw Charjabug out on the field, Greninja was pretty safe. If there was a Lantern back there, well, Tropius sweeps Quagsire and Lantern at the same time. So, good battle to my opponent. All right, moving to the next one. Trevenant on the lead. This is a good lead right here for us. We have great answers on our team for it. Trevenant is really not a big issue, and we do see a swap out into Talonflame, but this is a Fire Spin Talonflame, which is a bit different than the Incinerate. Now, because it is a Talonflame on the field, I'm expecting them to shield, which they do, so I went for the Night Slash bait. And now we have a great opportunity here to maintain switch advantage, to maintain lots of energy, because the cool thing about Greninja is the Night Slash coverage that it has to the Trevenant that was on the field at the beginning of the game, right? That ghost typing. So we're going to throw a Hydro Cannon here, get the final shield from our opponent. We're going to overload a bit and now go for Night Slash on charge attack priority. That way we knock out the Talonflame and we maintain the 1-0 shield advantage. And this is where Greninja gets a bit out of control because we're going to go for a Night Slash. There's nothing they can do. We have that dark typing to resist Shadow Claw. We have a shield for Seed Bomb. There is nothing they can do, and they decide to surrender. So there's going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving to the next one. We do have Whiscash once again on the lead. They decide to swap into Skeletor, so we're going to bring in the Greninja, and I'm a bit late on this one. But what's great about Greninja is, once again, we are doing super effective damage with Night Slash, which is lower energy than the Hydro Cannon, and it allows us to spam it and potentially get the boost. Now, I mistimed the throwing here of Night Slash, and the reason being is Skeletor is going to be able to... Oh, we do get the boost there. So we're going to go ahead and shield. I saw the boost and I'm like, all right, we're off to the races here. So we should be able to go for double Night Slash. I'm going to go ahead and throw this one. I could be wrong, but I believe Greninja wins charge attack priority, but they decide to no shield anyways, which is fine. So now we're probably going to see the Whiscash come back in, which means we can go straight Hydro Cannon here. And if the Whiscash doesn't throw a Mud Bomb right away, we're getting to the Night Slash. So we do 1, 2 Water Shurikens, and we get to the Night Slash. This is beautiful. Now, this forces that final shield from the opponent. And if they do, in fact, shield, what we are going to do is, instead of coming in with Tropius, right, they're swapping out anyways. You and I both know they're swapping. I'm coming in with Vigoroth to get ahead on energy, depending on what's in the back. And it's a Talonflame in the back, which is why Vigoroth's Rock Slide is so amazing. In the Great League meta, the coverage that it has is unbelievable. Boom! See ya! And that is going to be a good game. Very well played. This team, a lot of consistency here. Very strong. Alright, moving to the next one. We have Talonflame on the lead. tough lead right here, so we're going to be swapping out right away into Vigoroth, and we do see a Dugong swap in, and I just like, oh man, they're asking for it now. A Dugong swap in is going to have a really bad time against Vigoroth, and here's a learning opportunity here. So good games to my opponent on this one. But if we think about the matchups here, Dugong can beat Tropius left, right, and center with Ice Shard and Icy Wind. Talonflame does better against Vigoroth. So I'm surprised the opponent didn't stay in, right? Because what you guys are going to see is why. They come back in with Talonflame. This gives me a free Rock Slide here to knock out the Talonflame, which is obviously going to be forcing the first shield of this game. And they will be able to farm down. Now I have Greninja here for this matchup, which a 2-to-1 shield situation. It's a wrap. I'm gonna go for Night Slash, anticipating that they really want to keep this Talonflame alive, and they do, so we do get the shield. And now we are off to the races. We have 2-0, or now 1-0 shield advantage against my opponent, and we should be able to sweep this game. So we're just going to overload on energy, but they swap into Milk Tank. So this makes sense, right? They were weak to Vigoroth in the back, which is why I mentioned, if knowing this information, they probably should have stayed in with Talonflame to soften me up. Now I decided to swap into Tropius here after banking the charge move on Greninja, so I have the Hydro Cannon for charge attack priority and the 1-0 shield against Talonflame later on. And what Tropius is going to be able to do is happily soak from a shiny Miltank, boom, an Ice Beam. As Greninja can come back in, we can overload and go for a Hydro Cannon here, and then we do one fast move against the Talonflame and go for Hydro Cannon, and that is going to be a good game, very well played, as Greninja is once again sweeping teams. Such a fun Pokemon to use, especially in the Summer Cup. Boom, see ya. Good battle. Alright, moving into, I believe, the final battle. Yep, gonna be final battle here. Whoop. Tropius versus Swampert. So similar to the Whiscash leads, it's very positive for us, and you gotta start wondering, why are they staying in? But then they swap into Walrein, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring in Vigoroth. So they have 2 waters already. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a third. I could totally see a Dugong back there, so I'm gonna go ahead and let Icicle Spear go, because if there is a third back there, I'm gonna want Greninja to have some type of advantage, as Body Slam is gonna be thrown. They decide to shield, so now I will actually shield myself, because what this will do is will maintain switch advantage for me, and it'll get me the 1-0 shield advantage if I don't get switch, right? Which Greninja loves in a triple water team. So we do knock out the Walrein, so we maintain switch. Swampert does come back in and gets a good amount of energy, but Vigoroth gets to that Body Slam. This is huge. This is a good amount of chipped damage. And what's cool about facing off against a normal Swampert here is if it is running Sludge Wave, that is a charge move it could have, Tropius doesn't get one-shot by it. I'm going to get low, but I will happily soak this, and it is going to be a Hydro Cannon, which is fine. Final Pokemon is going to be Stunfisk, the Pancake, which we both counter each other. We're doing super effective damage. Thunder Shock and Discharge on their side, Water Shuriken and Hydro Cannon on my side. And I tell you what, Greninja just goes way too hard. I believe they need to do 2 more fast moves, which by that time, Greninja should be able to do the 1 Water Shuriken, which we do. And this is going to one-shot the Pancake, so Greninja is once again sweeping teams. Boom, see ya. And then we farm down the Swampert, and that is going to be a good battle, very well played. This team overall, a lot of fun, very consistent. Obviously, oh, that ended in some weird way. Okay. Very fun, very consistent. Obviously, if there's a Charmer, maybe a Wigglytuff, for example, Charm could be kind of troublesome to deal with, but you do have Vigoroth with counter, you do have Body Slam, you do have the bulk on Tropius, you got Leaf Blade, you got Air Slash coverage. As you guys saw, we had great coverages to Talonflame in a lot of different ways, and overall it's a fun team. If you don't have Tropius, try Jumpluff there, same but different. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.